Hey now, VMX here, and, well, you already knew that, didn't you? You're at my channel, aren't you? It's time for another batch of comic reviews. And you already knew that too, because it says that in the title. I gotta think of a better way to start these videos. Anyway, we'll start off with the much-delayed Final Crisis Submit, which was damn well worth the wait. Morrison, with Final Crisis and its many tie-ins, has done an excellent job of creating a sense of dread, doom, and hopelessness for the heroes. And seeing the last bits of resistance, in this case Black Lightning, being stamped out and forced to join Darkseid via the anti-life equation, it's unsettling to say the least. How Earth's heroes will come out of this is unknown, though we do know that the Tattooed Man will play some role, as seen here. The setting is almost somewhat a take of the classic novel I Am Legend, with the Tattooed Man as the last man standing and Black Lightning as the sudden newcomer who threatens to change everything. The interplay between the two is great, and exactly what you would expect it to be. The art is crisp, clean, and competent. All around, a great issue, and an easily, I'm going to say, a perfect 10 out of 10. Trinity number 20 comes off on the other end of the spectrum, mostly telling us things that we already knew or have figured out since the last issue. Boring, useless, and poorly drawn, the matters are made worse by the vestigial backup feature. This series has really shown no signs of real improvement, and with 32 issues to go, that's a bad thing. The Punisher number 63 has the haunting title She Is Dead, which is repeated throughout the issue. Frank's dilemma and the way he deals with it is something very interesting, and you can't help but feel the same rage and injustice he must feel, and surely sympathize with both the Punisher and the townsfolk he's trying to save. As Girls in White Dresses chugs along, the story is definitely improving as the writer finds his niche with the characters after Garth Ennis' departure. Worth a look, a solid 8 out of 10. Robin number 179 is a bit strange in its overabundant use of sexuality and innuendo, with Robin and the policewoman he's been working with having an almost flirtatious working relationship, and spoiler, showing off the goods to distract an enemy. Red Robin makes an appearance, and both his identity and intentions are still unknown, though I hope to find out soon what's going on. The art falls back into familiar territory, but the pacing, it still seems a bit off. Not to mention the general tone of the book. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, mostly because I'm unsure what to think of this issue. Amazing Spider-Man number 574 is a complete departure, focusing on Flash Thompson, who is deployed in Iraq instead of Spider-Man. The story is touching as Flash shows himself to be a very real type of hero, but still inspired by his own personal hero, Spider-Man. Right now, it seems that satanic divorces and crazy bitches made out of spiders are the farthest thing from what the book is doing, and I hope it stays that way. The book is also full of revelations about the Flash, most of them sad. Some are sad in an ironic and almost darkly comic way, as in how he got the nickname Flash to begin with. You know, how he really got it anyway. And some are just depressing, such as the revelation of what happened to him in Iraq that put him in a hospital bed and what the consequences of it were. If Marvel could tell more stories like this, I might actually buy more of their books. 10 out of 10, and that's the first 10 I've ever given Spider-Man. Captain America number 43 has the new Cap taking on Batroc, which is a lot less exciting than it should have been, especially since we're given no translation as to what Batroc's saying as he kicks James around. In the end, the story really turns out to be that the new Cap is starting to be accepted, though now his identity is compromised. Good art, mediocre story. 6 out of 10. Daredevil number 112 is actually pretty bad, and I find myself pining for when this book was worth picking up. I cannot find myself wanting to read even one more page of this lazy bullseye dreck. I'm sick of the idea of the Hand, I'm sick of the tie-ins, no matter how slight they may be to Secret Invasion, and I'm certainly sick of this book being off the rails. At least the art is decent. 4 out of 10. Blue Beetle number 32 is still not as fun as it could be, though this may be a permanent thing, as the new creative team may very well want to make this a more serious book. While I'm skeptical as to how well that will work, I'm willing to give it a try. The idea of Jaime being roped into patrolling the border and even seeing kind of the point of it, and his dad taking him to Mexico to see how bad it is there, it makes an interesting read, though you can't help but wonder if the writer is just pushing a political agenda. Aside from this, there's a glimmer of hope when Tracy 13 shows up and is unable to manifest anything but carrots, which could have been really amusing, but it's only mildly amusing. The book is still finding its new legs, but at least it's on the right track. 6 out of 10. Final Crisis number 4 is great. It's even better if you make sure to read Final Crisis Submit first, which is irritating, but without having to read it first, and indeed I did wind up reading Submit after I read this, it's still a great issue, with the perfect build-up to an absolutely dramatic, hellish nightmare of an ending. Darkseid is triumphant, evil is won, anti-life is rampant, and Green Lantern is fighting a losing war. The art can be uneven, with Joan sharing penciling duties with Carlos Pacheco, but they're both great, and the thing is they're great, but they're nothing like each other, so that's kind of the problem. That being said, however, Morrison's claim is that this will be the Lord of the Rings of the DC Universe is starting to ring true. Pun unintended there. The story is absolutely mythic, and not only does each issue improve upon the last one, but each issue gets better when the next one comes out. In context, it all falls together rather well. A 9 out of 10, with a point only being missing for the inconsistencies in the artwork. Superman New Krypton Special is up next. Man, did DC have a great week or what? Kicking off a huge event, much in the way that the Sinestro Corps Special did last year for Green Lantern, New Krypton starts here, picking up with where Brainiac left off from Action Comics. Brainiac is incarcerated, Supergirl reunited with her parents, Jonathan Kent is dead, and Superman has to deal with everything at once. To top this off, 10,000 Kryptonians are loose on Earth, now developing powers and problems. To make matters worse, Jimmy Olsen has stumbled on something quite sinister, going back to the Dog of Steel storyline in the Superman book. The only bad thing I can say about the story is the same thing I said about Final Crisis, but much worse. The art is handled by numerous artists, which is always an issue. Other than this, though, it's damn well worth your time. Another 9 out of 10. Trinity number 21 is slightly interesting in giving us an origin for Enigma. Some of the Morgan Le Fay stuff also appeals to my like of Arthurian legend. Then we find out something freaky about Despero. Slightly better issue of Trinity, but honestly, that's still only a 6 out of 10. Invincible number 54 literally takes place within a second, using time travel to have Mark go on an adventure unrelated to all the problems he's been facing with his little brother. He's taken to the future where Earth is ruled by the immortal, and hearing some of the things from their history is very interesting and gives a sneak peek at some of the things on the horizon for this book, albeit the very distant horizon. Mark also succumbs to the Viltrumite rage again, though it turns out okay. It's something that he'll have to deal with. A very good issue with all the hallmarks of Invincible, including the trademark humor and the trademark horrific violence. Kirkman does not disappoint. 9 out of 10. Lastly, Bart Simpson, number 44, is the second issue in a row not to feature Bart himself as a star in any of the stories, and as this is a bi-monthly book, that means 4 months of no Bart stories. What gives? The best of the stories actually focuses mostly on Maggie, with the sort of action sequence one would usually only work for animation. It's done pretty well in the comic, though. The second story gives Jimbo Jones the front seat and actually has